Friki de Bici, riding my bici around the streets of Valencia, Spain. The other day when I was riding my bike around the streets of Valencia, Spain, my pedal fell off. Right after I turned off the GoPro, unfortunately. It was in a pretty busy street that I was crossing. And when the pedal fell off, and I was almost across the street completely, the light turned, so cars started coming. And my pedal hit the ground and skipped into the middle of the street. Now, in Los Angeles, as I navigate this little situation here, in Los Angeles, pretty sure that the cars would have just run over the pedal and I would have been screwed. Here, not only did people stop, but the lane that I ended up standing in, there was a car that not only stopped, but put on their flashers, their hazard lights, to alert the people behind them that, hey, this guy's gonna go into the street to get his pedal. Which is exactly what I did. I grabbed my pedal and then I walked home on my merry way. Luckily, I didn't fall off the bike. I was able to maintain pretty decent control. When the pedal fell off, obviously my foot slipped, and I just hit the brakes and stopped and looked to see if I was indeed going to get hit by a car or if people were going to stop. And they did, and everything was fine, except for the fact that my pedal fell off. Which, by the way, one of the things I wanted to point out, later today I have to go to Corte Inglés, which is this big, well, it's a department store, and it still exists in Spain, in the middle of these shopping areas like Colón. Sort of the way the department stores used to exist in big cities across the United States. But anyway, I'm already to Corte Inglés in just those few minutes that we talked. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about living in a place where you don't have to patch everything together, which is something I've written about here in the Never Retire newsletter. It's been a theme I've carried on for around a week or so. It's not to say that everything in Los Angeles wasn't, there was nothing that was convenient, because there was. We lived less than a block away from a huge Pavilions grocery store that if at night we wanted a bag of potato chips, or if we forgot something, an ingredient to make dinner, I could walk there and be there in 3 minutes. So there are definitely elements of convenience, but there were examples of like, okay, you want to go do a pretty sizable grocery shopping and you don't want to break the bank. Walking that block to Pavilions wasn't necessarily your best option. I would do it sometimes just for the convenience sake, but I was doing it at, depending on how much I was spending, a $10, $20, $30, $40 premium, no joke. Like if you were doing a sizable grocery shopping at Pavilions, which is part of the Safeway chain of stores, if you're familiar with grocery stores in the United States, if you opted for them, especially Pavilions, which is I guess like the higher end expression, of the Safeway chains, you were spending considerably more than you would have spent at Trader Joe's and even Whole Foods. Since Whole Foods was purchased by Amazon, their prices have become a lot more reasonable, especially on their private label stuff, but whatever. The point was that if I said, okay, I'm gonna do the economically sound thing here and go to Trader Joe's, I couldn't walk to Trader Joe's, even though from a distance standpoint, Trader Joe's was not very far. You can get there in your car in 10 minutes, maybe less. But walking? It's just one of those things, you know, if you've ever tried to walk in LA versus walking in a more traditional, dense city. It's the reason why nobody walks in LA, which isn't 100% true, is because the infrastructure to do it is terrible. For whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, because the roads and all the infrastructure is designed to move car traffic, auto traffic. You just don't get places faster on foot or even by bicycle. When you have the density and the infrastructure you have in a place like Valencia, you actually will get places more quickly. Definitely on your bike, very often by foot than you would in a car. So the whole thing was like, oh, gotta go to Trader Joe's. You gotta get in your car. You gotta drive the 10 minutes. You have to find the place to park your car, which sometimes meant going around the block 2 or more times. You park your car, you walk over to Trader Joe's, you do your shopping, you carry your bags into your car, put them in the trunk, put them in the back seat, whatever. Drive home. Lug those bags upstairs. You save $20. That's just one example of many that I talk about in the Never Retire newsletter story that accompanies this video, and vice versa. But the pedal falling off got me thinking a little bit. I'm glad it didn't happen in a situation where I was going faster, or where I was maybe in traffic and the cars couldn't stop. Probably would have been okay still, but there's a better than zero chance that it could have been bad. Pedal falling off was just, you know, I'm riding a lot, I'm riding kind of hard. Over time, that kind of thing is going to happen. Now, it's one thing that it's reminded me of as I've gotten back into riding my bike for transportation, for exercise, for fun on a regular basis, is that there are some things you should have when you're biking. Oh, street cleaner. Not that this would have helped me, because I'm not going to carry my pedal wrench with me, but I realized that, oh, like, yeah, I need a pedal wrench. Because when I got home with my pedal, I couldn't put it on my bike. At least not the right way. Because you really should use a pedal wrench to put your pedal on your bike. And then I realized, okay, well, okay, so I went to the local bike shop to get a pedal wrench and they didn't have it in stock, which kind of surprised me. So I'm like, well, screw it, I'll just order it on Amazon. It's gonna get here tomorrow anyway. So I ordered it on Amazon and it got here tomorrow anyway. But then when it came, I'm like, oh shit, I don't have grease. Now, can you reinstall your pedal without grease? Yeah, I did. I'm riding it right now. I think it's fine. Although every little click that I hear, I'm like, oh shit, is it the pedal about to fall off again? But yeah, it's fine. So I'm gonna get grease. Went to Decathlon. They don't have grease in stock. It's a small Decathlon in Cologne. To show how these dense and convenient cities just how convenient they are, or maybe in this case, not as convenient as I thought they were going to be, when I was like, okay, Decathlon doesn't have it. So I asked ChatGPT, like, where else can I go? It's like, oh, go to this place, Bici Tager. It's very close to you in Rusafa. I'm like, what? Bici Tager? I think I've seen all of the bike shops around here. There's a bike shop? It has to be closed. So I go to where it says it is, which is around the corner from where I live. Like maybe a 90-second walk to where I live. That's how close Bici Tager is to where I live. And lo and behold, I've passed this place probably at this point hundreds of times. It's a street that I take home from these rides probably half of the time, maybe a little more. Never noticed the little bicycle sign they have hanging from above the door. Nothing. I go in, there's a older gentleman at a table, there's a bunch of bikes sitting around in there, and I asked him if they had bicycle grease, and he said no. So it's like, maybe they didn't have what I was looking for, but the point is, places that very well could have, and you might even say should have what you're looking for, exist here within 5 or 10 minutes, and often very, very less of most people's houses, especially if you live in the core neighborhoods of this city. That's the way it should be everywhere. The idea that people are against this and they fight so vehemently against convenience like that. It's so funny that America is the land of convenience and productivity. Yet, for so many people, going to buy a half gallon of milk is just like, it's an effort. Most people in the United States they didn't have like I had in LA where you can just walk down to the corner. Oh yeah, when I walked down to that corner, I had to spend $5 for that milk. If I went to Trader Joe's, I was often able to get it for $3. But yeah, why I don't get why you'd be against trying to make places more walkable and bikeable and so on and so forth. No tiene sentido. Doesn't make sense. We sort of like weave between two different themes in this video. So now I have a pedal wrench. Soon I'm gonna have bike grease. The other day I realized we've been riding to the beach and been riding a lot. I've been riding a lot. My wife's been riding her bike more. I noticed a little bit of a kind of a squeaky sound coming from her bike. Like, okay, need to get some lube. So I did go to the local bike shop, same place where we bought my wife's bike, and I bought some dry lube. Put it on her bike, the squeaky sound is gone. Great. Now I'm regularly putting oil on our chain to keep them in optimal condition. Which also led me to think, okay, I've been riding now here for a good 6-7 months. We ride a fair distance away from home sometimes. I'm not carrying a spare tube. I'm not carrying tire levers. I'm not carrying anything. Well, I have a pump. I have a pump on my frame that also fell off in the middle of the street, by the way, not too long ago. But I don't have anything to change it flat. I get it flat right now. I will do one of a couple of things. I'll either walk home or take transit home. I have to figure that out. Or I'll figure out where the nearest bike shop is and hope that they're willing and able to fix the flat for me on the spot. Or at least sell me what I need to do it. So it comes down to the level of preparedness that you should have versus what maybe would be being over-prepared. Like, you're not going to have, you're not going to carry a pedal wrench with you. Maybe you're going to carry an Allen wrench with you. Makes more sense. Probably should be carrying a tube and levers, a patch kit. When you go on group rides, you never want to be that person that gets a flat and then bums a tube off of somebody else, bums the tools off of somebody else. But there are many times, even when I rode in LA and I'd go ride into Malibu and I'd be way up in the hills and I'd have nothing on me. Sometimes I did have something on me. I'd have in my jersey, I'd have a tube and everything I needed to deal with a potential flat, but sometimes I didn't. And that's certainly not the smartest way to ride. All of this to say, for local rides like this, I'm probably not going to carry a tube. Because if I were to get a flat right now, man, I hate even talking about this. I'm a little bit superstitious. So I don't even like talking about this because I feel like I'm going to will it to happen. But if I get a flat, you know, it's easy to walk home. So this is like the smallest big city in the world. It's really cool. Just big enough to always be interesting and to always have something new to discover, but just small enough to be able to get around and navigate with a certain level of ease. So I wonder, when you go on rides, what do you carry with you? And what are you not carrying with you, more importantly maybe, that you think you should be carrying? Now, just to get a sense of what we just did, right? I left Rusafa, I hit Cologne, I went by Corte Inglés. I did basically what amounts to a loop around the old city. And now here I am, basically almost back where we started. Yeah, I am. I think at this corner, right? Is this the street I came in? It is. At this corner now, I'm back to where we started, or thereabouts. At any point, I could have cut down and gone into Churia Park. At any point, I could have cut over and gone into the heart of the old city. At this point, I could go back into Rusafa, or I could do what I'm going to do, which is go straight back into Cologne, swing a left somewhere, and go into the old city and ride around there for a little bit. So hopefully this was helpful. Covered a couple of bases that I have been thinking about over the past couple of days, and that I think if you ride your bike around cities, or even if you ride your bike in some other environment, you can relate to. And that's what we're trying to do here on Friki de Bici, is relate to fellow bike geeks. So if you agree with any or all of that, or found this somewhat entertaining, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and there's ways to support in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.